Hello, my name's Julia Macon and I'm the Associate Director of the Business and Enterprise Cluster in the College of Vocational Education here at RMIT University. And I'm really excited today to have with me three fabulous teachers within my cluster who are going to share their knowledge and expertise in the legal services, conveyancing and logistics fields. First up, we'll have Bill Uncles, then we'll have Oliver Rose and Wayne Beasley. Bill, Oliver and Wayne will introduce themselves to you all during our presentation. Today, we're going to tell you a bit about our legal and logistics programs, including conveyancing, legal practice paralegal, and logistics. These programs are world-renowned and allow our students to work across a variety of disciplines to replicate the real-world experience that you need once you start your careers. So thank you so much for being with us today. But before I begin, I would like to acknowledge the people of the Woiwurrung and the Boonwurrung language groups of the Eastern Kulin Nation on whose unceded lands we conduct the business of the university. RMIT University respectively acknowledges their ancestors, elders past and present. RMIT also acknowledges the traditional custodians and their ancestors of the land across Australia where we conduct our business. Just wanted to also talk about RMIT's commitment to reconciliation. RMIT is committed to redefining its relationship in working with and supporting Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander self-determination. The university's goal is to achieve lasting transformation by maturing its values, culture, policy and structure in a way that embeds reconciliation in everything that we do. In line with the principles of Bunjil, we are changing our ways of knowing, working and being to support sustainable reconciliation and activate a relationship between Indigenous and non-Indigenous staff, students and community. Thank you so much for listening so far. I will now pass you on to Bill to start our program presentations. Thank you, Bill.
Bill, I think you need to put your microphone on.
My apologies for that. It's important to get the first technical glitch out of the way so the other people are comfortable. Yes, my name is Bill Uncles. I'm teaching in the legal administration and policy area, both in legal studies and in conveyancing. Like the rest of my colleagues, I'm an Australian legal practitioner. Next slide, please. The Advanced Diploma of Conveyancing enables you to become a trusted member of the property industry with your advanced diploma. We'll provide specialist knowledge and technical skills in property transactions, provide an understanding about the operation of the legal system, and develop the necessary technical, leadership, and practice management skills as you prepare for professional practice as a conveyancer. So conveyancers essentially are people who transfer property titles. And you can imagine at the moment, it's still a busy industry. Leading conveyancing industry specialists will guide you through regular face-to-face evening workshops and online instruction. And we use real-world scenarios taken from cases. We've currently got a test going in one place which is based on a case that is still live, for example. And we use authentic documentation and provide a rich and, I believe, unique learning experience. Our program is highly recommended by the Australian Institute of Conveyancers, Victorian Division, which is the peak professional body for conveyancers in Australia. And it's the product of outstanding relationships between RMIT and industry partners. And we developed this program as the first program in Victoria with the Institute of Conveyancers. Next slide. So, what will we learn? You'll learn how to read and interpret a legal document and provide advice. You'll learn how to prepare legal documentation, how to apply the principles of contract law, and how to finalise a conveyancing transaction. The other thing is there's also core courses which enable you to develop an understanding of the legal system, particularly as it relates to conveyancing. So those subjects will provide ideas on decision making in a legal context. So what legal decisions are made in relation to property? What are the trips, what are the traps that exist in transferring property between owners? Introduce you to conveyancing and broad property law concepts. Preparing the legal documentation, which is really the essential part. And you'll get the understanding of why it's really important to get that documentation right at the first time. We'll teach you a little bit about estates and trusts, dispute resolution and settlements, how to resolve disputes and how to resolve them cost effectively. A little bit on legal documentation and research, and also really the key principles of land sale contracts and sale of land business contracts, and the obligations when you are selling land, particularly under the Sale of Land Act. Next slide. At the moment, the program does not select on an ATAR, and we expect that you have a current Year 12, so a successful completion of Year 12 or the equivalent, or the Australian Senior VCAL certificate. So if you don't have Year 12, at least completion of some post-secondary studies or at least 6 months work experience. The program really prefers people to have a depth of experience. You'll gain a lot more out of it and you'll be ready to move into the right positions in the conveyancing industry if you've had a strong background. Next slide. Okay, so the career outcomes. The most obvious one is that you would be working directly in conveyancing firms who specialise in the transfer of property, but also the transfer of businesses. Solicitors are also a major source of conveyancing. They used to dominate the industry, but it's now become a little bit of a specialist area. General law firms would also provide employment opportunities. Also opportunities in real estate offices. It's particularly important for real estate people to understand what the legal obligations are in selling. Property departments of major commercial firms, developing firms that do development, property development, firms that have a large suite of properties, such as your Coles and Woolworths and those sorts of organisations. And also government departments provide a very strong source. The Department of Titles, for example, the Department of Planning, places that expect a reasonable understanding of the property market. The Valuer General's Department would be another one. So next slide. Okay, so it's a new program to be introduced in 2022, the Advanced Diploma in Conveyancing. It's a little more nationally focused, from my understanding, and we're currently developing the details of that program at the moment. It's slightly lighter in content, from my understanding, but still provides you with all the real basics that you need to move on. Next slide. Okay, at this stage I'll hand over to Oliver Rose, who is a teacher in the Associate Degree in Legal Practice Paralegal area.
Thank you very much, Bill. That's wonderful. So let me just before I start, I just want to mention that we do have a live Q&A chat going on. So if you just have a look on the right side of the screen, just as we go, if you have any questions, then you can just submit them into the chat, and we're monitoring that live. Okay, let me just dive in then. So yeah, as Bill said, my name is Oliver, and I'd like to tell you about our program, the Associate Degree in Legal Practice, Paralegal. So I'm a teacher in this program. I teach and coordinate the subject of tort law, which is a core course in this program. I'm a former solicitor, so I worked as a lawyer in a commercial law firm. So like all the teachers in this program are either former or current legal practitioners, so fully qualified solicitors or barristers. So you'll be taught by experienced legal practitioners in this program. This program includes the core subjects, that you would expect to see in a Bachelor of Law program, such as evidence law, contract law, tort law, and criminal law. So you may well ask, what is a paralegal and what does a paralegal do? So paralegals are respected in the legal field and they play key roles in legal practice. Paralegals perform a wide range of legal work, always under the supervision of an Australian legal practitioner, typically a solicitor, who essentially acts as a manager for the paralegal. Paralegal work involves such things as, for example, legal research, preparing correspondence, case management, drafting court documents, conferring with clients, analysing documents, also interviewing witnesses. And these are just some examples. So our program will train you to understand the law, to find new and changing law, to analyse the law, and many other skills to develop you into a successful paralegal. So some of the special features of our program include, for example, practical placement in law firms and the RMIT legal practice firm, which is essentially a simulation of a real legal office, so you can become accustomed to what is involved in day-to-day legal work in a law firm. Let me just speak to the red box down on the right-hand side. So this program runs over 2 years full-time, but it's also available to study part-time if you wish. Next slide, please, Saya. So even if you're thinking to eventually upgrade your qualifications to become a fully qualified legal practitioner, a solicitor or a barrister, this program is a great starting point to enter the industry after only 2 years of study. You can always upgrade your legal qualification to a full law degree at a later stage. So our program consists of 16 units, including to take a business elective from the higher education program, which can be taken in the form of a business internship. Next slide, please, Sarah. Okay, so just to speak to entry requirements. So we see here we have the ATAR requirement, 51.70. Also some prerequisites. So for current year 12, so units 3 and 4, a study score of at least 25 in English EAL, or at least 20 in English other than EAL. And you'll be ranked on your ATAR plus any adjustment factors. There's also the opportunity for entry for non-year 12 via the special tertiary admissions test. Next slide, please, Sarah. All right, let me speak to pathways. So RMIT has recently introduced a full Bachelor of Law program, which is also an option if you are interested in the legal field. One of the advantages of our paralegal program is that it can be completed in only 2 years. And then after joining the legal industry, you have the option to return to study at RMIT to upgrade your qualification to a full law degree, including getting credit for your paralegal qualification. Next slide, please, Sarah. All right, let me speak to career outcomes. So the skills you will learn in this program will prepare you for careers in a wide range of industries, including the legal field. And we see here listed within the legal field, there's a number of specialised areas in legal practice which you may find yourself practicing in, or may well practice across a number of these areas. And these include litigation, conveyancing, personal injury compensation, criminal law, family law, probate, corporate law, and commercial law. Also, Bill reminded me earlier of an important point, which is that there are also a number of jobs available across the court network, such roles as, for example, barrister's clerk. Outside the legal field, there are also numerous career opportunities, for example, in the insurance industry and in the industry watchdogs. Right? So, for example, ASIC, the Australian Securities and Investment Commission. So the key skills to know the law, to find the law, and to analyze and apply the law are at the heart of what these watchdogs do. So broadly, the skills you will learn in this program have a wide application across many industries and agencies, open up a tremendous broad range of opportunities for you. Let me just finish off by sharing the story of how our current Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia began her legal career. So Susan Kiefel, who is Australia's most senior judge, she began her career as a paralegal, what was then known as a law clerk. So this is a great place to start a legal career. And as Justice Kiefel's story demonstrates, there are no limits on how far you can develop your legal career starting as a paralegal. That's all, Sarah. I'm just going to hand over now. Should we hand over now to Wayne, who's going to talk to us about logistics?
Thank you very much, Oliver and Bill, for those insights to those programs. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Don't forget, we have a Q&A, a live Q&A section on the right-hand side of the screen. You're welcome to insert any of the questions in there so that we can answer those for you. The whole three of us can answer those for you at the end. My name is Wayne Bees, as Oliver mentioned. I'm one of the teachers here at RMIT in regards to transport logistics. So what is the Diploma of Logistics? Basically, it is all around the logistics world. Now, logistics world has certainly changed in Australia, well, throughout the world, actually, in the last 10 or 15 years. And I'd like to make mention of some of those things that have happened over that period of time. The industry is certainly different to what it was traditionally in the earlier part. So at RMIT, our logistics course is actually designed around that to prepare your career that demands business know-how, sensitivity to cultures. Obviously, we're dealing with international businesses as well, project management and negotiation skills. Get the opportunity to actually explore procurement, global sourcing, transport and logistics planning. The newest, I suppose, things that is starting to creep into the different parts of industry is blockchain technology. So that is something we've embedded into the Diploma of Logistics as well. Technology is certainly a big player in the world of logistics, and blockchain is one of those. We'll be looking at operations risks and obviously risk management around that, very important part of the logistics world. And we'll be looking at practical projects along with in-class activities as well. Just looking at the right-hand side down there on the box there, the course goes for 12 months, full year, full year, sorry, at the city campus. And the first intake is February of next year. Just we'll swap it to the next slide. Thanks, Sage. Okay, so what's the course made up of? The Diploma of Logistics is made up of 15 units, so 15 courses over the 2 semesters. So semester is 6 months, and semester 1 covers off on some legislative compulsory type areas. So we have 2 core courses in the diploma. As you can see in red there, in semester 1 we have a core course which is monitor the safety and transport activities. And in semester 2, we have split that up so that there's another core program in there. So develop and evaluate strategies for transport and logistics enterprises. The courses that are in blue, they are elective courses, and it's been designed around industry. And so as you can see, we touch on in semester 1, the blockchain, establish blockchain in the supply chain, ensure a safe workplace, which is very important in a lot of industry, of course, but certainly in the world of logistics, supply chain, etc. Lead and manage teams, which is, again, very prominent in the world of logistics. We go through the knowledge of logistics, suppliers and customers, which are slightly different than, let's say, a business, conducting a business. We've got a different style of, or a different cohort of suppliers and customers. And of course, the big area there is to manage the risk. In semester 2, there is 7 courses, 8 in semester 1 and 7 in semester 2. Some of those courses are actually clustered, what we refer to as clustered as well. So actually they are delivered in 2 or 3 at a time. So although it sounds a little bit daunting across the 6 months period, they're actually combined to a certain level. So that sort of streamlines it out to around about 5 programs a semester. So in semester 2, we look at the environmental audit side of things, very important, and certainly ethical practices, environmental practices, sustainability, all those areas are on the priority list when it comes to the world of logistics and supply chain management. So very prominent now. Develop workplace policies, very important in the world of logistics and business. Budgets and operational procedures, and manage supply chain and operational planning. So just based on those sorts of courses and what the industry are now calling for, you can hopefully understand that the world of logistics has changed, and has changed over the last 10 or 15 years, where there are a lot of interesting areas that we need to cover off on and make sure that you're ready for business and your career. We just might swap to the next slide. Thanks, Sajid. So in terms of entry requirements, there is actually no ATAR for the Diploma of Logistics. There is a requirement there for Year 12, successful completion of Year 12 or equivalent, or the equivalent to the Australian Senior VCAL certificate. For non-Year 12, we are looking at entry requirements of completion of post-secondary studies, which may include the Cert 3 or at least 6 months worth experience. So it's very open to students that wish to come, maybe working, and wish to come back and receive some qualifications or enter into qualifications as such. Thank you, Sajid. We might just go to the next slide here. Okay, connections. Well, as I mentioned before, we work very closely with industry, because we want to make sure that industry are receiving the right sort of qualifications and the right sort of knowledge gain as our students leave. So we do work very closely, and that includes the qualifications are actually built, the programs and the courses are built around the industry's requirements or industry's feedback or input, and it covers off on very important areas such as understanding policies and procedures, conducting environmental audits, and understanding sustainability and legislation, which is very much a priority in the world of logistics now. We do actually work with industry as such, so we have a number of projects that we work with. That could entail either domestic companies, domestic logistics companies, or international. So we also have a global industry project team as well, where we get to work with real businesses. So they are certainly something that we try and concentrate on to make sure that not only are we learning in class in terms of what the industry want, but we're actually working with industry. As you can see, we've got some actual rates there in terms of graduate employment rate in Australia for our partnerships, and also it shows you the the amount of students that we've actually been able to engage in the work integrated learning programs, and they're what we refer to as our WIL programs. So work integrated learning programs are where we actually work. We get to work with real companies. Nick, thank you. All right, career outcomes. What sort of things can we now look at when we look at a Diploma of Logistics or the logistics world? Now, I mentioned before that it has changed. The industry has changed over the past 10 or 15 years, where we're not just talking about logistics as in movement of cargo. We are actually talking about from door to door. So the supply chain situation has really changed. We've seen some changes in the last 12 months to 2 years, where logistics has had to bring on a new style, companies have had to look at different ways of actually moving cargo and actually controlling cargo. So what we're talking about now, some of the career outcomes from the Diploma of Logistics could be around warehouse management, distribution operations, transport and freight forwarding. And we're also looking at the supply chain purchasing and inventory side of things. And of course, importers and exporters, and very important for those who will enhance their side of things there. If we can just change to the next slide, thanks. Okay, so what are our facilities? Well, we do actually work from our Swanston Street or Swanston Academic Building in Melbourne. And we also have, as I say, the online side of things, and we also have a number of facilities, obviously, within the RMIT campuses. So there's access to collaborative learning environments on all the facilities for study, research, etc. So that's where we're based from with the Diploma of Logistics as well. So just next slide, thanks. Some of the important dates. So as I mentioned, there's 2 semesters in a full year, and the semester intake is February, and the second semester is July. So the 7th of February 22 will be the first semester, and then we roll over. We have a break in the middle, and we roll over into the second semester, which is the 4th of July. Next slide, thanks. All right, so thank you everybody. I would just mention the fact that all of the programs actually have those intake dates, so they are the important dates to remember. So we would really like to see you join us, both obviously on the logistics side of things, but I speak on behalf of Oliver and Bill as well. So we hope today has enlightened you to some of the information. And what we might do now, we thank you all for coming along, and we would like to probably hand over to, or have a look to see how we went as far as any questions are concerned.
I'll jump in here. Julie Macon again, Associate Director. Wayne stole my thunder. I was going to thank all the presenters, so I won't. But there was a fabulous question about whether classes were going to be on campus or whether they'd be online. And I just wanted to reiterate that RMIT in the vocational education space and also in the HE space follows what's known as a blended learning model. The blended learning model allows us to ensure that when we're on campus, you're learning using the practical hands-on skills, and when you're online, you're using your theory. Now, unfortunately, we can't predict what's going to happen with COVID at this point in time, but the plan is for semester 1 and semester 2 next year is that would follow a blended learning process. For some programs, that might be 2 days on campus, 1 day online. For others, it might be 50-50. It does vary. Depending on the program that you're wanting to study. But we are very lucky within the business and enterprise cluster to have, as Wayne was saying, amazing facilities that really enhance the study experience. It's not just about theory. And what I'll do is I'll pass on to Oliver, who will actually talk about what a moot performance is, because that's just one of the examples to show how hands-on we are with our delivery.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, moot court performance. It's a great experience. It's a simulated court trial. So as a paralegal, it's quite likely if you're working in a firm that's involved in litigation, which a lot of them are, that you'd be involved in trial management and trial support. So it's a great opportunity in a moot court performance type scenario in a simulated court trial to take the role of the opposing barristers, arguing the opposing view in this particular trial, and learn also about court and trial procedure. So yeah, definitely a moot court performance. That's an excellent experience to get some insights into how trials actually function.
Thank you so much, Oliver. I think
no worries.
It's fabulous to hear. I just thought while we've got a little bit of time, I might just ask Bill, what is your favourite thing about teaching at RMIT within the business and enterprise cluster, and in particular your program? Because we've all done about the what's involved in our programs, but you know, it's good to know more about our teachers.
Difficult questions first, Julia. Thank you. Probably the favourite thing is really seeing people develop. You know, I've had a number of students who've had, you know, issues perhaps with, you know, not a strong background in, well, cultural and linguistically different students, and really seeing their skills in presenting their arguments really develop quite strongly. I think that's very satisfying. But also just working, particularly in the conveyancing area, with people who've had quite a bit of experience in the field, and seeing them bring their real life examples into class and being able to discuss them and how that affects how people would look at particular issues. One that stands very strongly in my mind is a person was working with a company and we were talking about conflicts of interest. And she immediately said, "Oh, that's been happening in my company." And so we talked about, the whole class really was able to talk about, well, how would you bring that to the attention of your seniors, and is it an issue, and how should it be managed? And it was a, you know, very productive sort of session. So when those issues come up, it's thoroughly enjoyable. It's the ability to thrash out and provide a sort of a practical environment as much as possible.
Thank you, Bill. A question just came in about how many students in a class, and on average it's between 30 and 35, but generally more around the 30 mark. Wayne, I'm going to ask you a question. What's your biggest piece of advice you could offer a current Year 12 student regarding their career and their study choices?
Sorry, Julia, I'm just having trouble with connecting there. Advice. Well, I think any type of involvement or experience will certainly will assist. So where you can get involved in any sort of projects. So certainly in the Diploma of Logistics side of things, it's something that we try and engage the students in. And also be very open to learn from other people. I think networking for the future is certainly a big player for ongoing skills. So it's not a case of just learning something and then putting it aside. It's like anything. If we can gain some more life skills, whether it be in industry or whether personally, it's something that it should be of interest for all to actually continue networking and continue learning from others, as well as obviously the academic side of things as well. I hope I answered that question.
No, you did perfect, Wayne. It's nice to be able to see the interests of our teaching staff and being able to come today, although it may not have been in the way that we would have liked to if it was open day on campus, be able to share the knowledge and skills and expertise. Can't see any other questions in the chat. All I just wanted to reiterate again is to say a big thank you to Bill, Oliver, Wayne, and the people behind the scenes who made this morning possible, and also for our attendees for attending virtually on a rainy Sunday morning to learn more about legal, conveyancing and logistics. If you have any other questions, obviously there's plenty of channels to ask questions, and wanted to say a massive thank you again to everyone for participating, and hopefully see you at RMIT next year on campus. So thank you.